Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this extraordinary general council meeting on the 8th of January 2026. Thank you very much for everyone for coming, particularly members of the public on a very inclement night. Councillors and officers are reminded of their commitment to the civility and respect pledge and to be mindful of this through tonight's meeting. Please be aware that the Council is video recording of this meeting and it will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel. I'd like to highlight some of the key points of the meeting format. Please can I ask everyone to have their phones switched off or onto silent. Fire exits are via the doors out of the chambers and down the external fire escapes or the main entrance through which you enter the building. In the event of a fire, do not use the lift. The assembly point is outside the Royal Mail Parcel Office in West Street, and please remain seated unless you are invited to speak or need to take a comfort break. The toilet facilities are down the corridor through which you entered. Members of the public are invited to participate in the meeting with the key points as follows. Public participation is limited to 4 minutes per person, and as chair I will interject if needed to enforce this. When the public participation agenda is introduced, please raise your hand to show you wish to speak, and I will invite you to speak. If you're comfortable standing, please do so to ensure that you can be heard across the room. You don't need to state your name when you start speaking if you do not wish to. And I would ask that participants looking to leave the meeting wait until the end of an agenda item to limit distraction for other participants. Members of the public looking to leave the building will need to be escorted by a council officer. If the meeting goes into confidential session, a short 2-minute break will be held in order to allow members of the public to leave. To all present, please remember to show respect to others in the meeting and avoid interrupting where possible in order to enable others to follow the meeting. If any councillor feels concerned about any aspect of the meeting or discussion, please clearly state point of order and I will then gesture to you to elaborate. If anyone present is felt to be behaving unacceptably, they can be ejected from the meeting by resolution. Thank you for listening, and on behalf of the Council, I'd like to thank everyone for attending this Council meeting tonight. Right, so the first issue that we have to deal with, which is not actually on the agenda, is the appointment of a Vice Chair, as Councillor Sturton has been unable to attend tonight. So the Deputy Mayor has had to submit his apologies for tonight's meeting. I'd like to move that we look to appoint a Vice Chair to support me while I chair the meeting and also preside over the meeting should this be required in my absence. Understanding Order 9.3, I welcome nominations from councillors to act as Vice Chair for this meeting. Any nominations received will need to be proposed and seconded, and then we will move to a vote based on the order in which nominations are seconded. So, do we have any nominations for a Vice Chair for tonight?
I'd like to nominate myself.
Right.
If I'm allowed to do that.
You're proposing yourself,
Sorry, yeah, I'm
yes.
proposing myself,
Okay.
yes.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Honeyman and Councillor Dubas, sorry. Do we have any other nominations? No? Okay. Can I then move to a vote, if no one else feels this onerous duty is necessary? All those in favour of Councillor Councillor Dunn being my Vice Chair tonight. All those in favour? Thank you. Any against? And any abstentions? Right, that is moved. Could you please come and join me, please, Councillor Dunn? I'll remember your name soon.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do. Everything but the kitchen sink, isn't it, when you know?
Thank you. Yes. Okay. Right. The second item, which again is not on the agenda formally, is an update for councillors and residents. We had a sad email from Keith Blackburn, who many of you will know from the neighbourhood plan, and he is a free man of the town because of his service to the residents of the town. And he informed us 3 days ago that very sadly his wife Kay had died on New Year's Day. Obviously that's a very sad occasion. And he says, we are all absolutely heartbroken. Kay and I have been married for 60 years. So I'm sure councillors and all attending will join me in offering her condolences and sending our sort of love and support, because we know both of them, in fact, serve the town with great diligence, and we're thankful for the service and offer our support and condolences. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Right, okay, so apologies for absence. We're now back on the official agenda.
Thank you, Chair. So we've got 6 apologies for absences this evening. We've got Councillor Lord, who's got personal commitments, Councillor Walraven, who is unwell, Councillor Horru, who has work commitments, Councillor Lindsay Sturton, who has personal commitments, Councillor Ruth Sturton, who has personal commitments, and Councillor Adeniji, who has work commitments.
Okay, but we are quorate, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah. Right, item 3, petitions. In accordance with the Town Council, 2, disclosure of interest, to deal with any disclosure by members of disclosable pecuniary interests and interests other than pecuniary interests as defined by the Seaford Town Council Code of Conduct and Localism Act 2011 in relation to matters on the agenda. Does anyone have any declaration of interests? Disclosure? No. Okay, noted. Moving on to item 3, petitions. In accordance with the Town Council petitions policy, this is a standard agenda item to facilitate any public petitions being presented to and noted by full council. Please note this will not prompt a discussion on the petition at this meeting. Do we have any petitions, Chair? Okay. Moving on to item 4, the public participation. To deal with any questions or brief representations from members of the public physically in the meeting room in accordance with relevant legislation and the Seaford Town Council policy. Do we have any public participation? Does anyone want to address council on any issues? Gentleman on the right.
I know we used to have the Para Games in the summer and just wondered what happened with that over the past few years. Happy New Year, by the way.
We didn't quite catch that. It was about games.
I know we used to have the Para Games in the summer and just wondered what happened with that over the past few years. Happy New Year, by the way.
Chair, what about Peter, Para Games? Do we have any
I'm afraid
information?
a new post is not something I was aware that we used to have. I'd like to certainly make inquiries about it and find out what happened to it and whether there's any interest in it being brought back.
I think this gentleman has asked before. I do remember this question. So
Okay.
yeah, we are in your debt for the reminder. Thank you, sir. Our officers will make the inquiries and we will comment accordingly. Thank you.
I can enlighten.
Yes, Councillor Mark, thank you.
Sorry, thank you very much. I've also been we're talking about this with Zena Gibbs.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and she's brought it up on occasion as well. And in the past, it's been supported by Wave Active.
Yeah.
And she has had conversations through our health stakeholders group with Duncan Kerr, the CEO of Wave Active, to look at reinstituting that. So I think people are aware of it, but we can, with officers, do a bit more to pursue it. Thank you.
Yeah. Councillor Honeyman?
Thank you, Chair. I think historically, I thought they were Sussex-based Para Games, and I got a feeling that the other ones, the K2 and Crawley, as there was forgot who it is now, it's probably a different company, very much involved there as well, so you may want to look at the wider picture in Sussex East and West, see how it goes. Thank you.
Right. Any more comments? Any more public participation? Right. Okay, fine, thank you. Right, moving on to item 5. Minutes, we are not talking about any because this is an extraordinary general meeting. These will be carried on into the routine timetable for council meeting at the end of this month. Item 6 is my Mayor's report. Please note that these are the papers that were presented in October, where they haven't been updated, and clearly there's been quite a lot of activity in all spheres of councillor and officer activity. So we're only taking it up to October. So please, comment on them in that context, because the full update will be coming to the timetable for council at the end of the month. Does anyone have any questions, comments about my report? I've got to note it, haven't I? Right, so we are asked to note the content of the report. Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Rutland, a seconder, please. Councillor Markwell, all those in favour? Thank you. Any against? Any abstentions? No, sorry. Sorry.
Voting.
You're voting, okay, thank you. Right. Agenda item 7, Town Clerk's update, again up to October 25.
That's right, yeah. Thank you, Chair. So this is obviously the Town Clerk's update that I was planning to present to you in October 25, but as you know, time was against us that evening, so it was agreed we would defer it to this meeting. Obviously, as the Mayor says, there are updates since then, which will come to the 29th of January full council meeting. I would welcome any questions.
Yep.
Yeah, page 17, 1.15 mentions possible call at Seaford Barn. It was been reported recently, and especially probably over the Christmas period as well, people off from work, maybe visiting more, that they were pretty disgusting and people weren't able to use them. Is there any way we can check the cleaning regime on that?
I'm going to
I don't know if you've had any feedback
hand you over to the head of place, if that's all right.
That's fine, yeah.
Yes, officers have already been in touch with the cleaning company about that.
Yeah.
We are also going to be going out to tender our cleaning contract in the next few months, and other items as well on this agenda. Other items coming up on this agenda concerning the assets software will help us to keep things in a better condition.
Lovely. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Meek.
Thank you, Chair. Just to say that I understand that this is all from November, but I just wanted to flag up that on page 24, number 5, appeal to entrust, just to make you aware, we had a planning meeting at the District Council yesterday where we were given information about the new planning framework, the planning policy framework, which is coming into being, which may come in about September. And it's going to be pretty stringent, and it just happened to mention in there that green spaces might well be considered as possible building areas. So this becomes very important, I think, that we press on with this, Town Clerk. I know you are, but I just wanted to raise that we should be aware of that, because it's in consultation from, I think, about March, right the way through to September, and we need to be aware of that.
Sure.
Thank you very much for that.
Through the Chair, in answer to that question, a paper was brought to the previous administration about Fields and Trust, and I don't believe that, and nor does Peter believe, that it gave councillors the full picture of what it means, the pros and cons. So our view is that we should bring a paper back which is a comprehensive explanation of what Fields and Trust would mean for council, this administration to vote on, and Peter is planning to bring that back on the 29th of January. Which will give a full account of what it means, what it doesn't mean, what it can do, what limitations there are to it. for councillors to agree whether we are going to go ahead with it or not. In the meantime, the Assets and Contracts Manager is in the process of pulling together all the paperwork that Fields and Trust need and want, which is quite substantial, particularly for the salts, where we've got all manner of leases and licences and restrictive covenants and whatnot on there, and they need to see all of that so that they can get their lawyers to go through and comb through it all. So she's in the process of doing that, but we want to get affirmation from this administration that you know what it means and that you do want to do it before we press the button.
Very important. We've seen to protect our green spaces. I think that's a very important point. Thank you. Any other questions, comments, queries? No, then I shall move to the recommendations that we are asked to note the contents of the report of agenda item 7. I have a proposal, please. Councillor Bristow, a seconder, please. Councillor Rutland, all those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? So that's passed unanimously. Thank you. Right, let's keep up the pace because we have quite a hefty agenda here. Right, okay, this is item 8, page 26. Complaints, freedom of information requests and appeals update.
Thank you. So this is Izzy's standards report that she produces for every full council. Again, this is deferred from October, so this only goes up to October, but it covers the complaints, FOI requests and appeals that we've had up to September 2025, and I'd invite any questions.
Anyone has any questions about this? Right. If not, then I shall move. We are asked to consider the updates and to move to a vote. So we're recommended to note the contents of the report. Can I have a proposal, please? Councillor Dunn, a seconder, please. Councillor Buchanan, I'm having a bad day. All those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? No, unanimously passed. Right, okay, moving on to agenda item 9. This is the Premier Football Salt Container Proposal. Are you addressing this, Peter? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So Premier Football have worked very collaboratively with us in bringing this paper tonight. And I would like to stress that this is a temporary solution to facilitate Premier to continue offering football coaching at the Salts. And this is until the Salt redevelopment plan, where we hope to find a more permanent solution for them. Also, I'll mention that it was brought to my attention earlier that on the black and white printed versions you have, it was not clear on the plan exactly the locations, therefore you'll find some plans on there where it's highlighted in yellow, and that is the proposed location. I welcome any questions.
Yes, does everybody have access to all of these photos? I don't think we have here, but that was... Right, can we have one plate, please? Yes, that was going to be the question about where actually it was going to be, so thank you for that. Right, Councillor Buchanan, please.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Yeah, just a little, to be clear, the location is on the plan there.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
In the paper on page 30, 2.3, it says it will be located on the Salts near the Scouts hut. So I just want to be clear, the paper kind of, there's two separate different coaches there.
Sorry about that. Yes, that was an earlier proposal and a consideration. However, because of the work that would have to be done to the ground there, restrictive covenants around being next to the railway and the location close to the Scouts hut, it was felt that it was, and as this was a temporary solution, it was felt best to put it on existing hard standing rather than introducing hard standing and flattening off the area. So that was an earlier consideration, which I'm sorry I missed that.
Thank you.
Councillor... Not sorry. Councillor Matthews, I do apologise.
Yeah, my question is, Peter, about there's a lot of information there about placing the container on that position, but there isn't much information about how easily it could be removed and how quickly, especially if there's cladding attached to it, which I can't remember what point that is. Could you provide some more information on that? So I guess what we don't want to be doing is granting permission to this, that it sits there and then it just sits there forever because we can't move the thing.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair enough. So containers are relatively easy to move. Obviously, the cladding would probably be attached and then removed on site, but you can get them back onto a bed because this is not a full-size shipping container. This is a smaller shipping container. So you can get them onto the back of lorries, which would come into the cells. We work closely with Premier to work out whether this needs to be craned over or whether it could be driven into the salt. It might depend on ground conditions and things like that. But yes, I'm confident that it's kind of previously I've kind of seen them deliver for about £1,000 or so. So although there is work involved, it's not a huge amount. And this would be for Premier to arrange that. We're not taking on any responsibility for that.
And would they...
Do you want to ask another question?
Yeah, as a follow-up question. Presumably they would then be responsible for removing it.
At the end of the lease, yes.
Councillor Duba.
Hi. We recently all agreed that we would have the Salts Development Plan in progress before the end of our positions here as councillors, and I feel this placement is not appropriate, and for us to give away that plot of land, even though it's only for 3 years, I think it's highly inappropriate. It would have been better for it to go by the Scout Hut, because that's unlikely to affect anything in the next 3 years. This is smack bang in the middle of playing areas that I would like to see developed for more children's play. And there is no reason why Premier cannot work closer with the Scouts to utilise that Scout Hut. At the moment, it's not giving us, it gives us a peppercorn rent, but it's nowhere near utilised enough. Why can't these two organisations work together for the benefit of playing football on the Salts? I don't agree with giving away this bit of land. Thank you.
Would you like to reply?
So as far as I'm aware, that the Scouts do not feel able to facilitate additional use by Premier and then regular use by Premier, and there'll be a number of clashes on that. But I can't say I know the details of those conversations.
If I could just add to that,
Yeah.
before Peter's time, we became aware of a complaint from the Scout Hut that the Premier football paraphernalia that's held in their backyard was blocking the access, the fire exit of the Scout Hut, and it was impinging on their egress from the building. And since then it's been, we've been seeking to try and find somewhere else for them to put their stuff rather than in the backyard of the Scout Hut, which isn't really suitable, in answer to that bit of your question.
Thank you, Chair. I'm really delighted that this paper has actually come to full council in this time frame. I undertook a site visit with the chair of Premier Soccer back in the autumn-winter last year. Heard much more about what they do as an organisation and a club. They facilitate a lot of children's football up through the ages. They're obviously there every Saturday morning. Really positive thing to be going on in the town. They don't make a huge song and dance about it, they get on with it, and they do a lot of great stuff. And for me, being able to utilise that area, which is currently fallow between the tennis courts and the skate park, in the short term, would be really, I think, really good for children to play sport, and also to give Premier a base, which I can very well see why they need somewhere warm and dry to have. Being familiar with the Scout Park from dog training and so on before as a councillor, and the class these days. It's a building which is not the most modern and not the most comfortable, and it doesn't lend itself to giving another club a permanent or a proper base. So I'm really in favour of this as a concept. There are a couple of things I just wanted to ask for clarification on, if I may. Peter, probably. Could you clarify, first of all, whether or not it would be classed as a disposal? You've got disposal of land in here. In my memory, I've got disposal of land as a lease that's 7 years or more. Perhaps this would or wouldn't be, I'm not sure. And the other thing is, I wanted to just ask about, can I borrow that, Jeff? About the orientation. I'm going to describe this. I'm aware that I'm not supposed to hold things up in council meetings, but on the picture we've got the long edge of the container parallel to the third tennis court. I don't know whether it's just indicative placing it there as somewhere in that area, or if there's a reason why that particular location within that was favoured, but I would just like it checked that for tennis, and I know in dark times the floodlights can be used, but if it's under natural light, the sun's arc kind of goes, you know, that it wouldn't shade, thank you, impinge or shade, you know, in the early morning or what have you, the light across that third tennis court. And I wondered whether it might be considered to rotate it 90 degrees or not, or whether this allows for that sort of fine-tuning placement for officers and the club.
If councillors are happy, we'd be happy to consider that and maybe make fine-tuning to the exact location to make sure that we don't impinge on the light or the floodlights of the court. Sorry, I've forgotten the first section.
Disposal.
Oh, disposal. So my understanding is this does count as a disposal, and that's why we would need to inform Lewis District Council, and we would need to advertise it for 2 weeks in a newspaper. And welcome any comments during those 2 weeks. So our understanding is it does count as a disposal.
Through the chair, it's a different type of disposal of land. If you take away open space, you have to advertise it for 2 consecutive weeks in a local newspaper and invite views, and that's part of the law, and it's that sort of disposal of land rather than the other type you were referring to.
Councillor Warner.
Thank you, Chair. Just going back to Councillor Dubas's comments regarding going in with the Scout Club. Over the years, many organisations have asked to use the Scout Club alongside them, and the Scout Club's been adamant that they don't want anyone else using their building because it's their rent and everything along with them. Also, I'd like to echo Councillor Bristow's comments with being supportive of this and the movement of it by 90 degrees round to the side rather than the angle that we have the picture in. We need to be supporting our football clubs. We've obviously have issues with Seaford Town Football Club and trying to support them and them working with us. We have Premier wanting to work with us, and we have this paper in front of us with full support, and I think we should be fully supportive of our youth and the organisation and giving them somewhere that they can go. So I will be supporting this application.
It's very important that we're seen to be treating everybody equally. Thank you. Councillor Dunn.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't stand up last time.
It's all right, don't worry.
It's a bit head and heart, this. I mean, I completely understand Councillor Bristol and obviously Councillor Borman's points, but also Councillor Dubas. For me, is this a shipping container? Is it another one of those?
It's a repurposed shipping container, yes, but with cladding.
Yeah, the problem I've got with these shipping containers is they're pretty ugly, and I know they're easy and cheaper, but we've already got a big question mark over the lifeguards wanting a shipping container. My big concern is that I know it's meant to be temporary, but then you could say how long is a piece of string? If they keep coming back and wanting to continue, it could end up being, you know, another renewal, 10 years and so on. I'm worried that we set a precedent for the fact that we will, if we allow a shipping container in the salts, why should we stop a shipping container on the seafront for the lifeguards? So I'm a little bit, I've got my concerns surrounding this item. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mayor.
Do you want to?
All I can is reiterate that this is very much a 3 years, and Premier are very keen that this is a 3-year arrangement and temporary arrangement until the source redevelopment plan allows us to find a better solution.
Councillor Mark.
Yes, thank you very much for reminding us about that, because that came up at the very beginning of the presentation of the paper. I do think we need to be considerate of the fact that, yes, we do have on our strategic plan the redevelopment of the salts, but what's important about the salts redevelopment plan is that nothing will happen in the salts until we've agreed that plan, which will take us some time. It's possible that we might end up doing things piecemeal after we start to make some decisions, but if we do have such a good relationship with this particular football club that I would hope that we can negotiate, if that particular area is involved within that development, that we can negotiate how we might move forward. And it feels like we have that relationship, that we could actually probably do that.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to say I support the container going in the salts, because I think it's only a temporary, and it knows that it's only going to be a temporary, and it does say that it is for the kids and to actually have somewhere to go. So I think this is really important that we support this, because we've got to get the location right and everything else. So yes, I support this, but if the cladding on it can all look super duper.
Councillor Lee, and then Councillor Honeyman.
Thank you, Chair. A few points. I've been in contact, had many discussions with the Chair of Premier over the years, and I think, quite frankly, they've had very short shrift in the way they've had to try and function under the duress of having had their facilities taken away at Newlands, and then they've been sharing the salts, but they've never had a proper house, they've never had somewhere they can be, they've had to move their equipment around about, and I feel we owe them a big time to facilitate something, and I think that's a good place to put it, personally. I understand, Councillor Dubar, I understand absolutely your concern, but this is a temporary situation, and the other thing is they want to work with us on the strategic plan for the salts, and I can only imagine that they will be accommodating. Regarding the shipping container, you have to remember that we've got a shipping container down at Bonningstead with a Skipper Sports, which is clad and looks perfectly all right, really. We also have to remember we've got a huge shipping container up at the barn, which nobody, I believe, had any idea was going to be there. We never asked for a shipping container, we just knew there was going to be a concession there. So, and that's in a heritage site. So I understand we've got to be careful, but as it's a temporary thing, I would fully support this, and I'm sure that knowing the Chair, I'm sure they'll be happy to work with officers to negotiate fair and workable solutions to the problem of the strategic plan comes forward.
Councillor Honeyman.
Thank you, good Chair. Yes, again, like many councillors, I'm sort of two minds on this one. I mean, at the moment, it's quite limited space, and it's used essentially by about 3 sports over the course of the year: rugby, football, and cricket. And so the whole space is the cricket have got their own, they've got their additional planning now for their extra space, and the rugby club have always had their building. There's no other building there which only for football can use. There was an empty cottage there, wasn't there? An empty room, empty house. Is that still empty, or was that someone lives in it? It was next to the rugby club. There was a property there. I don't know who uses it, but there you go. That's maybe. It's still one of ours, isn't it? Or,
yeah, but
anyway.
I think we were slightly off the point here.
Yeah. So, but obviously, if you're thinking of basically relocate, if you're basically part of the going forward plan is to that where the Crazy Golf is to landscape all that serious work, and then when you get into the realms of it very close to the lower line. So I don't know what I am thinking of the bigger picture, and I think some councils think what is temporary could be temporary, but it might be longer term, because since Newlands planning permission 2014 did come about, they have done elsewhere, which they've done very well. But the 2 or 3 pitches at the Newlands have never been replaced with in Seaford, and I don't see any scheme so far that it's been replaced anywhere. So temporary, as some people might think, might be a bit more than temporary. Thank you.
Okay, noted. Okay, any other? Sorry, Councillor Ruffin.
I think this is the perfect solution, perfect location. We need somewhere for the youth of Seaford to play. I think this deserves and warrants complete support. I support it completely.
Thank you for your brevity. Have we finished the comments? Thank
Yes.
you. Right, I'm now going to move on. So we've considered the proposal and we're moving to a vote to the motion. So first of all, we're asked to note the contents of the report. Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Rutland, seconded Councillor Borman. All those in favour? Thank you. Any against? Any abstentions? That's passed unanimously. Right, to approve in principle that the specific location in the Salts as set out within the report to be leased to Premier Football for a period of 3 years. And just for clarification, the plan shows that this is by the tennis courts, not what the agenda papers show. So can I have a proposer for that?
Could I just ask for a clarification, because in the discussion we were asking whether officers and the club can fine tune it within that area, the current sort of in-between area of the skate park and the tennis courts. Will that require an amendment, or would that be captured in the existing wording of point 2?
What do you think?
It's up to you, Peter. I mean,
I think an amendment might be useful, just to say that there is some delegation to officers to agree to fund location within that area.
Right, okay.
Someone needs to propose an amendment.
So I will need someone to oppose an amendment. Would you like to fine tune the wording, or shall we?
Yeah, can I? Well,
Yes,
I don't
please.
mind if
Yeah, would you like to propose the amendment?
To
wording?
approve in principle that the specific location within the Salts, as set out with as discussed in the meeting, between the skate park and the existing tennis courts, the specific location be delegated to officers in discussion with Premier Football, to be leased to Premier Football for a period of 3 years.
Perfect.
Does that work?
Okay.
Georgia will fine tune mine.
She will work her magic.
I think it's good work, this. Definitely what we need.
Would you like to repeat the amendment, please?
Okay, so the proposal is to approve in principle that the specific location within the Salts, as discussed in the meeting between the skate park and tennis court, be leased to Premier Football for a period of 3 years with the specific footprint to be identified by officers.
Perfect.
Okay, all right. Can I have a proposer?
Propose that amendment.
Can I propose?
Yes.
Can we have a proposer for the amendment?
I propose the amendment.
Yes, a
I'll
seconder
second it.
for the amendment. Can we vote on the amendment, please? Okay, thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? 2 abstentions. Okay.
Three.
Sorry, 3 abstentions. Sorry.
Now you need to vote for it.
Right, we need to. We now need that we have voted on the amendment. We're now voting for the amendment. So those in favour of the amended statement of recommendation 2, those in favour of the amendment, please. Thank you. Anyone against? Councillor Duba. Sorry?
You didn't propose it.
Sorry, a proposer.
We proposed, seconded.
Yes, and Councillor Borman was the seconder of the amendment. Those in, let's do it again. So those in favour of the amendment. Thank you. Those against? Councillor Dubar. Any abstentions? So 1 abstention. Okay. Thank you. That is carried. Right. So this is where it gets complicated. So item 3 is to approve in principle for Premier Football to be granted a supplementary licence to place the container on the leased land as described in the report. Now, are we happy with that wording?
I think it needs to say as described in recommendation 2, doesn't it, George?
Yeah,
Yes,
I was going to say that not in the report
that
because the
isn't-
report
that
was
isn't
wrong.
Consistent anymore, is it?
Doesn't it say as described in resolution 2?
No, it says report.
No, it doesn't.
Can I suggest that we need to change this? We need an amendment.
I think because it says on the leased land, and motion 2 specifies where the leased land is, I don't know.
In the report it talks about being at the scout hut.
That's talking about where previous permission was given for. So, yeah, 2.3 is talking about the previous permission.
I do
given
feel
by
we
the
need
leased
clarity here. I really do.
Okay, can you give us a second? Sorry, and we just work out what the best thing to do is.
I mean, we could just remove after the comma.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Okay. So shall I? So can I propose that recommendation 3 has the last 5 words deleted? Yeah?
You need to
Okay.
propose that as an amendment.
I will propose that as an amendment. Are we happy? Can I have a seconder to that amendment? Thank you. Can we vote for the amendment, please? Thank you. Anyone against the amendment? Any abstentions? 2. Okay. So now we are going to vote for amended item 3.
You need to ask for a proposer and something.
Yeah. Just to clarify, to approve in principle Premier Football to be granted a supplementary licence to place a container on the leased land. Full stop. Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Rutland, a seconder, Councillor Borman. Those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Councillor Dubar. Any abstentions? Councillor Dunn. Thank you. That's passed. Right, and item recommendation 4, because we have passed subject to amendment items 2 and 3, to delegate power to Town Clerk in consultation with the chairs of GOSCA and the Finance and General Purposes Committee to finalise the terms of the associated lease and licence and enter into those agreements on the Town Council's behalf through the application of the Town Council's seal. Can I have a proposer for this, please? Councillor Honeyman, seconder, Councillor Buchanan. Anyone in favour? Those in favour, please. Thank you. Anyone against this? Any abstentions? Councillor Dubar. Thank you, that is passed. Are members of the public happy to continue, or would you like a break?
I'm happy to leave if that's okay now.
Right. Shall we have a 2-minute break to escort members of the public who wish to out of the building? Thank you.
Are you okay staying? Are you okay staying, or did you want to go? We're not trying to get rid of you, it's just if you wanted to go. Okay. Right, well, if you find to stay, it's fine.
No, I don't know if it's actually. I don't know what's going on there. You'd have to do things like that when you start getting more. You'd have to do proper landscaping. I mean, there was going to have a proper path all the way around, but you'd have to have a lot of landscaping getting close to the railway side.
Yeah, oh absolutely.
You'd have to buy the railway side, and the one gap you'd have to have quite a lot of earthworks. You could do some earthworks with the golf
Just don't see
But I should have really been left anyway. That should have been used for something else by now, probably. Or that, or another school, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there always seems to be a good atmosphere when I'm there chatting meeting while they're just walking past.
But they still haven't found the space for that free pitch meeting, was there? We've got 16 in place. Well, that means that we get it.
Just sometimes it's nice to have it there, because we've got to be in the bonnet.
So we've seen quite a lot of how it goes over the circle, yeah. But you know that from work for council.
Yeah, it's easily done if you feel you haven't.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would be
Don't want to.
Well, I mean, the strategic plan of sites would take good figures anyway, with elements. So it's going to be the next administration anyway. It's not going to be in this one. I mean, we were talking about that with Seaford Park. Or where that's going to be. It's too complicated. The issue up there. That is a transport anyway. Do with one of those busy summer Sundays.
You can watch it on the video. Okay, so do you want me to go with him? Entirely up to you. So if you want to stay, you can go out just or when you arrange for the member staff to show you out.
It's almost like an illusion you can do that, but we can all make instructions to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
A bit like Tide Mills. You knew about it.
I knew about it. I knew about both of them. Just, yeah.
Well, just give Steve the nod, and then he'll take you downstairs and start the meeting. We can come on it. You can
So just to explain what's going on, the gentleman who's participated needs to be escorted from the building and helped with the lift, and there's a change of carers. So we think that the easiest thing is to facilitate that now. Is that okay?
They're not here.
No, he wants to stay for the rest of the meeting. So there's a changeover of staff.
Ah, I see. The carers are changing over, but not the person himself. Sorry, I misunderstood.
So they're going to let Steve know when the carers are outside.
Right.
And then we'll have to stop the meeting while Steve does the handover with the staff.
And we will try and carry on because we still have a full agenda. But Peter will be helping facilitate as the supervising officer, just so that we know what's going on. So thank you. Right, okay, we're going to carry on now. All right, yeah. To agenda item 10, page 36. Revision of pitch hire pricing. Over to you, Peter.
So as per the paper, we are no longer linked to the Lewis District Council pricing because we are now doing our grounds maintenance contract in-house from April. So we have, however, compared our prices to Lewis District Council. So these, we're not looking to change completely from Lewis District Council. They haven't announced their prices for next year yet, but we believe will be broadly in line with what they're proposing. We have had a slight change, which you'll note, around the closed match, the introduction, and this is to reflect the unique nature of the crouch football pitch. I welcome any questions.
Any questions? No? Oh, sorry. Councillor Honeyman.
I was just going to say, I'm really pleased this is coming forward, that we'll be able to have more control about what's going on, because the thing that came up a few years ago was the fact that members, and this occasion it was the Crouch Goldens, weren't able to know what was going on the football pitch and when, and they wanted to know what was happening. But at least this way we'll be in control, we'll be able to say what's going on and when, and hopefully that will make it a lot easier for everyone.
Councillor Dugas.
I don't understand what a closed match is. Could you explain, please?
So currently at the Crouch, during the first 11 matches, Seaford Town Football Club close a section of the Crouch for public access, and during that period they charge people to access it.
Oh,
People can access through it currently by asking for the gates to be open, but they charge access. The council have incurred costs such as putting in gates, a regular replacement of padlocks and things like that. So this is to reflect that we have increased costs and they have the ability to charge for access.
Councillor Bristol.
Thank you for bringing this paper forward and all the work that's gone into it, echoing Councillor Honeyman's words. And obviously from my own experience as a ward councillor, I think for the Crouch, I think it's going to be really welcome coming forward, just by virtue of us having control over our own pricing and collection of those fees as well. I think it's going to put the council and the town in good stead. Can I also just seek a small further point of clarification around closed match? Currently the working arrangement is that for the higher occasions for which it's required, the gates are closed an hour before kick-off and up to half-time during the match, upon which time they are then opened for the public to go through should they wish to. Can you just confirm that, you know, by introducing this closed match fee, it doesn't somehow imply that that will be changed or that it will be closed for the duration of the game, that it is in effect the current working arrangement, please?
Yes, I'm happy to clarify that, and we'll make that clear in the terms and conditions of booking that that's what is meant by that.
Thank you.
Any further comments or queries? Or no? Okay. Right, so we are advised to consider the contents of the report, including the revised fees, and to move to a vote. So we're asking to note the contents of the report. Can I have a proposal, please? Councillor Meek, a seconder, please. Councillor Matthews. All those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? No, it's passed unanimously. Thank you. I'm sorry. Right, so item number 2 is we're asked to approve the sport pitch fees as detailed in the report for 2026-27 financial year. Can I have a proposer? Councillor Bristow, seconded Councillor Dunn. Those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? No, again, passed unanimously. Right. So we're now moving on to agenda item 11, page 40, which is about the collaborative agreement regarding the Esplanade car park.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. It's a bit of a complicated situation, but technically the Land Registry still says that Lewes District Council owns the Esplanade car park, even though we've owned it for 20 years. And so East Sussex County Council have been enforcing parking on there for Lewes District Council for the last 20 years. They are now aware that we actually own it, and that soon we will own it on the Land Registry because of the work the Assets and Contracts Manager has been doing. And so they need to change the traffic regulation order and the agreement between East Sussex and us so that they can continue to enforce on that car park when we become the legal landowner on the Land Registry. That's basically the nuts and bolts of the report, but I'd welcome any questions because I recognise it's a bit complicated.
Councillor Dunn.
Yeah, 1.3, you've just explained that we don't technically own it because it says beneficial owners, if not the legal owners. The trouble is, if East Sussex County Council enforce the parking and get fined, obviously revenue, we don't benefit from that, do we?
No, but we won't in the future either because they're...
No.
But
so we're not technically beneficial owners, really, are we?
That's not what beneficial means.
Oh, it's not.
Okay, so there's two different types of way you can own land. One is as a legal owner, which means your name's on the Land Registry.
Yes.
And one is as a beneficial owner, which means your name's not on the Land Registry, or it can be, but you've got some right or benefit in the land.
Okay.
Because of the fact we are the owners, we are the beneficial owners of that land, but we're not technically the legal owners because our name's not on the Land Registry.
Yeah. But we won't get any revenue.
No, we're not.
But we would then be, sorry, Madam Mayor, but we will still be responsible for the upkeep financially.
Yes. The Sussex County Council will only do civil parking enforcement at cost recovery.
Yeah.
They won't do it unless they are making as much back as it's costing them
to go out and
do the patrol enforcement. We're fortunate that they're not charging us to do the CPE on it. So, yeah, initially, in early discussions, they were proposing they were going to charge us to do parking enforcement on the land. They've agreed that they will charge us, but the quid pro quo is that if they do raise any charging parking notices, then 100% of that goes through Sussex. They've also made the point later on in the paper that if we were to start charging for parking, they would want some of that as to pay back the fact that they were collecting it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Councillor Bristow.
Thank you. It's good to see things being put in order and potentially moving forward subject to this vote. I have a question regarding the practicalities of us becoming the legal owner rather than just the beneficiary owner, and in terms of our working with ESCC parking enforcement. We as a town council often, as councillors and as officers I believe, get communications from the public about parking and problem parking along that area, that stretch of the seafront. And currently with this kind of triangular situation where ESCC have thought it was LDC and so on, do you think by us executing this that we would therefore have a more direct relationship with the ESCC in enforcement, and in practice it might give us any advantages in terms of dealing with problem parking issues and that sort of thing? Or do you think it won't kind of stretch that far into sort of practical benefits?
Through the chair, I think we're putting right something which should have been put right 20 years ago, so I think we have to do it anyway. I think it means that we've got a direct relationship with the Sussex County Council parking team, which we didn't previously have. For example, when we had a traveller encampment on the Esplanade car park about a year ago, and we contacted the Sussex Traveller team, they then went off and contacted Lewes District Council, who turned up, even though they don't own it, with East Sussex, and that sort of thing would be gotten rid of, because obviously they know we're the owner. I think in terms of the area at Splash Point, there is a contradictory situation where East Sussex have painted diagonal yellow lines as if to say no parking, but there's a sign which says parking. And so I'm meeting the team manager for parking there on the site next Wednesday with Peter to try and overcome that and work out a solution to that. But it would give us a more direct relationship, I think is all I can say. Whether or not that equates to more parking enforcement or not, I don't know. But, yeah, does that answer the question?
If I may, just that sounds like a step in a positive. Not a question, just it sounds like a positive step forward, and thank you for giving that information.
Councillor Meek.
Thank you, Chair. This is just an additional idea or comment, really. I understand exactly what you're trying to do, Town Clerk, and I think it's excellent. I just wonder if a trick has been missed here, that I wonder how effective it will be to stop, to regulate what the problems we do have there. And I wonder if it would have been, well, as part of the package, we could have asked ESCC to put up signs restricting the amount of parking you could do to less than 12 hours at a stretch. Which, even if it wasn't enforced, would be a deterrent to people. By seeing on a sign it might say 3 to 4 hours or something like that. And I wonder, I imagine it wouldn't be enforced, but it might be a deterrent. That's all I'm suggesting.
I think through the chair, I mean, it's something which we can do in the future. It would, however, mean that the traffic regulation order needs to be changed, and we would have to pay for that. Whereas they're prepared to change the name of the owner of the land on the TRO for free, but because they're not changing anything else. So there would be a £5,000 fine charge, I think, because it goes through a legal process. I believe it's £5,000 to change the TRO.
Nothing's cheap and nothing's straightforward, is it? Councillor Buchanan.
Thank you, Chair. Page 61, item 1.1.
Sorry, I'm not there.
Who's been responsible to date for the costs related to maintaining the car parking infrastructure? Because now Seaford Town Council are assuming that role. Has that always been our local?
I don't know if any maintenance has taken place on it.
But whose responsibility would that have been?
Well, it should have been ours because we've owned it for 20 years.
So we're
Do you know
just
what it means?
legalising that point.
We've done the knee rails. I don't know what that is, but they...
Yeah, so
yes,
it came somebody else's car in me from
Yeah, that they are knee high and they're wooden, aren't
Yeah,
they?
exactly,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
In reality, it was what, you know, the piece of work the asset and contracts manager's doing, which we asked for permission to spend money on in terms of registering all of our land in our name. This is one piece that wasn't registered for 20 years.
Because
East
it's still
Sussex,
responsible for maintaining it.
yeah, we were. And we've known we've owned it for 20 years. It just so happens East Sussex didn't know that because it stayed on the land registry as LDC. So they've been enforcing parking thinking it was LDC when actually it's ours.
And the signage says so as well.
Yes.
Can I ask a basic question?
Thank you.
Is there a definition or a map somewhere to define what the Esplanade car park actually is?
As part of our meeting on Wednesday, I've asked them to provide us with a map of what they believe to be the Esplanade car park because of the turning circle issue.
Yes. Yeah. I'd just like to clarify that because there is nowhere that has something like this to say this is what we're talking about. So I would certainly welcome that. Thank you. Right, any more questions or queries before we move to a vote? Because obviously I'm aware of the time and that the apparent, have we been told that there are carers?
Has it happened yet or not?
Oh, okay. Right, okay, so we're asked to consider the report and the attached appendix and we're going to vote on the motions below. So first of all, we're asked to note the contents of the report. Can I have a proposer? Councillor Bristow and a seconder, Councillor Rutland. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? No, that's passed unanimously. And secondly, to delegate authority to the Town Clerk to sign the collaboration agreement with East Sussex County Council for parking enforcement at the Esplanade car park. Can I have a proposer, please? Thank you, Councillor Rutland. A seconder, Councillor Markwell. Those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? That's unanimous as well. Thank you. Right. So, agenda item 12. This is about the local government reorganisation consultation response. And we're asked to seek full council's approval of the proposed Seaford Town Council responses to the government's consultation on local government reorganisation. Clark.
Indeed, thank you, Chair. There was a call put out for councillors to provide feedback so that we could pull together a consultation response. Since that time, officers have pulled together what we believe to be a broadly supported set of responses to proposals 1 and 2. We haven't supposed to respond to proposals 3 and 4 because they deal entirely with West Sussex and we felt it was disproportionate. But options 1 and 2 would both affect Seaford, and so we proposed a suggested response to the consultation, the end date of which I believe is this Sunday. So if this is supported by councillors this evening, we'll submit this tomorrow.
Comments, queries?
Thank you,
Councillor Taylor.
Madam Chair. I've had a bit of a conversation with you about this online, sorry, and I just picked it up again later this afternoon. And this is about leaving out New Haven in the text. Okay, sorry, I'm now on page 68 in the text that is being proposed about offering comments on our support. Okay? It is complicated. This whole situation is actually complicated. I've clarified a number of things with you. The one bit that I'm still concerned about is that we omit New Haven. Now you, if I can refer to what you said, Stephen, you have a different view of this. My view is that, and it's partly because Bishopstone Ward is on the boundary with New Haven. We are back and forth across that boundary a lot for education, for health, for we being the residents of that area. for a number of different services, first of all. Second of all, the district councillors, Lewis district councillors, it's taken me a while, and I'm still not sure I've got this entirely clear in relation to the boating district is actually, it cuts right into Bishopstone. Okay, so we don't have a kind of defined boundary there, which makes any sense in terms of leaving New Haven out. And I wasn't sure, as I reflected on what you said, Steve, about what your argument was for leaving it out. So I'll just sit down for a moment.
If I can, if I can try and explain, you need to read that answer on page 68 in comparison and contrast to the answer that I've given to proposal 2 on page 70. Proposal 2, so Brighton and Hove's proposal, would see Seaford and New Haven carved out of Lewis District Council and married up with Ryde, Battle, Hastings, Bexhill and Eastbourne, and would be split away from, to the west of us, Peacehaven, Telscombe Cliffs and Saltine, and to the north of us, Lewis. So that's why on page 70, when I've talked about how it would separate Seaford and New Haven from our near neighbours, Saltine, Telscombe, Peacehaven, and it would separate Seaford and New Haven from Lewis. What I was seeking to do on page 68, when we were talking about the East Sussex one county option, is to make a point, by contrast, that would see us still associated with our historic links to Lewis, Peacehaven and Telscombe Cliffs, because neither of the proposals would separate us from New Haven. Do you see what I'm trying to say? That's why I haven't included New Haven in that list. Does that make sense?
Okay, that penny's dropped in relation to the second proposal.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if there's another way we can resolve this without taking it out. Sorry.
All right, thank you. Councillor Bristol.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to Steve and officers for drafting these responses. I think it's very, very important that we do respond to this as a council. I also wondered about the New Haven aspect, and that makes perfect sense to me, contrasting the two and knowing how they're grouped together. My thought was whether we talk about historic links between the towns, sorry, page 68 again, proposal 1. We mentioned the existing historic links between the towns and villages of East Sussex, especially in the case of Seaford, historic links to Lewis, Peacehaven and Telscombe Cliffs. I wonder if anywhere in there it might be appropriate or beneficial to mention Seahaven. While Seahaven isn't a place on the map, it is something which has historically grouped Seaford, Peacehaven and New Haven together, and in terms of provision of services, be it leisure or other bits and pieces over the years, locally it's kind of a well-known term. Now that may help or it may not help, but I just wonder whether some sort of reference to the links there and looking into that and providing a few examples could be just an idea.
Sure. I mean, obviously, councillors are perfectly entitled to amend anything that I've put there. I've just tried to come up with a broad response. If you would like that to include New Haven in that list, so that it doesn't look like we've excluded them, then that would make perfect sense. Yeah. The only reason it's not there is because, as I said, in both proposals we would end up with New Haven. That's what I was trying to make the point on. But in terms of the Seahaven piece as well, I mean, I don't know if whatever they're called, the ministry would know what that means.
Yeah, well that's it. But in terms of,
But obviously, you're welcome to propose any amendments to the wording if you see fit.
Well, do you want to propose an amendment, Councillor?
No, I just really wanted to throw it open to the room, and if other people suddenly decide that that's a good thing and there seems to be a groundswell, then happy to consider it, but really...
Councillor Taylor, do you want to propose an amendment?
Could I just, for discussion, see what you think about this, that rather than naming any of those places, I'm on page 68, any of the, so for historic links to Lewis, etc., we don't name it. Anyway, see the towns along the coast, and Lewis and the towns along the coast, and we take. I am concerned about leaving out New Haven. I think it sends an untimely message to New Haven. I'm trying to find a way around that.
It would be simpler to just add New Haven into that list.
Yeah. Okay.
Not that I'm telling you what to propose.
No, I'm
So would you like to propose an amendment, or do
Yes.
you want me to pick it up for you?
I was just trying out another amendment. Yeah, I would like to propose that in relation to the sentence, the historic links to Lewis, Peacehaven and Tulsa Cliffs, we include New Haven in that list.
Okay.
That's
With
proposed. You need a seconder for that amendment.
Yes. Okay, so we have a proposer for the amendment, we have a seconder. Can we have a vote on the amendment? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? Right, so we are being asked to approve the proposed responses as detailed in Appendix A. Do you want a form of words subject to the amendment on page 68?
What's the best way to deal with that sort of
As noted?
thing? We need to amend the recommendation.
Just as noted.
As amended.
As amended, yeah.
So if the proposed responses as amended.
Yes, yeah, okay. So we're asked to approve the proposed responses as amended, as detailed in Appendix A to Report 143/25. Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Dunn, a seconder, please. Councillor Matthews. All those in favour? Anyone against? Any abstentions? Passed unanimously. Thank you. And I'd just like to say thank you. It's a thorough piece of work, and it does it takes a lot of getting your head around. So, and it is important. It's really important, because if it's not absolutely detailed, we could regret it in the future. So thank you for that diligent, focused work. It's much appreciated.
Madam, can I just say, because the closing date is almost upon us. Yes, people still have not voted. Because I think we are being encouraged to vote, because I think they're very concerned about that second.
Okay, yeah, noted, thank you. We have passed the amended proposal.
Just for we will submit the town council's response tomorrow, which will be in time.
But
I know.
The timescale is noted. That was raised by the town clerk, so our communal voices will be heard, but we still have the right to put in individual, as do all the residents. And I would urge anybody who feels strongly about this, who wants to be represented, that they get their responses in. You can put as much or as little in as you want, and you don't have to vote for the West Sussex side of things if you don't feel to. So it does clarify and make it a lot shorter process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, we are going to move on to item 13, which page 72, which is the Seaford stakeholder group. Seaford Town Council representation. Again, this was supposed to be presented to October, so it's carried over and has not been changed. So, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Chair. So, yeah, as it says, this was brought to October 25. It seems a bit pointless now, we're so far into the year, but at the annual meeting last year, we should have invited councillors to express an interest to be part of this working group, and it was missed. So this is an opportunity for any councillors to consider putting themselves forward to join the Seaford Health Stakeholders Working Group. And I welcome any questions.
Okay, Councillor Markle.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say I've been chairing this group since its reappropriation, I guess, about two years ago now. And it's gathered momentum, exceptionally to the point where last October we were able to entertain and host the local MP, James McCleary, to come and talk to us about health issues that he's been bringing up for Seaford in the House. And we have quite a long list of local residents and organisations who attended, mainly representing the NHS and the local councils at 3 different tiers, and also many other health organisations, both from the community and the NHS. And it's really a vibrant and very helpful group to look at many of the health and wellbeing issues that we all face, especially in our demographic, which is leans towards a very high percentage of older people. So yes, I'm just advertising the group to say it's great, and I certainly helped to put myself forward to remain on the group. So as one councillor ticked off, I'm very happy to do that if anyone else wants to join me.
Councillor Taylor.
Thank you very much. Yes, I've been a member of that group for 2 years. Sandy's done an excellent job. It's beyond me as to why this is not set up in the way the other groups are set up, but that's maybe another story. The thing is that the group is going well. We have some major health issues in Seaford that we're not dealing with, particularly in relation to access to GPs, and it was very helpful. It's very helpful to have these conversations around the table with people who all are concerned about this position and looking at how to seek to influence it.
Chair, if I can respond to that. Yeah. I don't know why either, but this working group was set up with a terms of reference which said that the councillors will be re-invited every year at the annual meeting, rather than it just continuing on. And that was missed at the annual meeting. So we're now going back and saying we should have done that. So we now need to reappoint councillors for the remainder of this year, and in May, at mayor making, we'll need to do it again for the following year, because the terms of reference for this working group are unusual in that respect.
Thank you.
I have a technical question, if I may. Does the working group have to have a named committee to which it is allied, or can it be a freestanding group?
It would usually report into a kind of parent committee. Yeah.
But that was never set up.
Does it have to be?
We never advised on that.
I don't think it's been set up for this because it started life as an OBR.
Yeah.
And it was then it morphed into a working group without a parent owner, and with this unusual requirement to reappoint the members every year.
But I think the default would be full council. So
Right.
the absence of
Okay, just for clarification.
report.
Okay. Right. Any more comments or queries before we move to a vote? Right.
Councillors who want to join in.
Right. Does anyone want to put their names forward other than Councillor Markwell, Councillor Honeyman? Councillor Taylor?
I'll put my name down if you have.
Yes, so Honeyman, Markwell, Taylor.
Can I just make a point that the meetings are 2 to 4 in the afternoon?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, well noted. Okay. Councillor?
Can I just ask, was Councillor Woolraven on this previously? I just want to check because obviously she's not here at the moment.
Well, clearly
we don't need 4, it's up to 4.
Yes, it's up to 4, so I think we'll leave it at that. If anyone changes their mind and wants to add their name, or indeed any of the absent council colleagues who aren't here tonight, we could always add. So we have 3, and that should be satisfactory. Thank you. So we are asked at first to note the contents of the report. Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Meek, seconder. Councillor Taylor, those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? Thank you. And let's just have a short break while carers move over. Okay, thank you. Right, moving on to item 2, to note the terms of reference for the Seaford Health Stakeholders Working Group as in Appendix A. Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Dunn, seconder, please. Councillor Matthews. All those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? No, that's carried unanimously. And finally, to appoint up to 4 Seaford Town Council representatives to the stakeholders group. and we have the names. So can I have a proposer for the names of those who have put their names forward? Councillor Meek, thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Bristow. Those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? No. Unanimously, thank you. Right, moving on. We're nearly at the end of the first bundle, goodness me. Right, okay, this is item 14, page 77. Change of tone and content considerably, but again, it's all part of the revision of policies, which is a vital part of the functioning of the council. This is the adoption of a whistleblowing policy. I understand the Deputy Town Clerk is unable to be with us tonight, so the Town Clerk is going to take questions.
Got me? Yeah, thank you, Chair. So yeah, first of all, the Deputy Town Clerk apologises for his absence, but he's unwell, so he can't be here this evening. So the next few papers are a number of policies which have been through the appropriate committee, have been discussed, agreed, and then recommended forward to full council. And I believe there's several in a row in the agenda. This one, the first one, the whistleblowing policy, was brought to the full council in October, and so this is just a reiteration of what we brought to October 25's full council. And I welcome any questions.
Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a really important document, and my one suggestion is that we could build in a review of the operation of the policy. Now, if the question then arises was, well, when would that review take place? The end of the first year, the second year? We might not have any whistleblowing issues to deal with at the end of the first year to review. So, but I think that I'm raising the recommendation for a review because this is a new policy on a sticky area for all organisations. So we can learn from the purpose of the review would be to learn from the operation of the policy, how it's going forward and what the barriers, etc. are or might be.
Just give me 1 second. Okay, so in answer to your question, you'll be aware that the Deputy Town Clerk and the Policy Risk Officer have newly been employed by the Town Council, and they've started a process of working through all of the policies that we've got. Some of that work involves redoing existing policies, and some of it involves creating new policies where they see a hole.
Yeah.
This is one of the ones where it's a new policy because we didn't previously have one, and the Deputy Town Clerk has proposed that for all the brand new policies, we'll review them after a year, so that we can make sure that there's nothing in it that's not working properly, and then if we're happy with it, then it will move into a longer term cycle, such as 3 years review. Yeah, that's.
Okay.
That's the normal time frame for a whistleblowing policy would be every 3 years.
Yeah.
But I think it says in the report, obviously I didn't write this, so I'm struggling a bit here, but I think it says in the report that new policies, brand new policies, will be reviewed after the first year, and existing policies where they're being redone will go into their normal pattern. Some are 1, some are 2, some are 3, depending on the likelihood of it needing to change.
Okay. Councillor Matthews and then Councillor Bristow.
Okay, I'm confused. I'm confused now. On page 81, it says the next review date is October 28th.
Yeah.
So
that would be the normal. Yeah, that would be the normal time frame that we would. So
yeah.
Some policies need to be reviewed every year, such as financial regulations, for example, because they are regularly used and there's regularly things we need to change. Other policies are renewed every 2 years and some are renewed every 3 years, because the likelihood is that nothing's going to change I don't believe we've actually ever had a whistleblowing situation. So it's not something which is going to be regularly, used. But overriding that, because of the fact this is a brand new policy, the Deputy Town Clerk proposal is that every brand new policy should be reviewed after a year.
Okay.
And once you're happy with it in a year's time, then it will fall into the 3-year cycle.
So does that need to be amended on page 8?
So the question is, does the actual written policy need to be amended to reflect that?
I'd say no, because I think that page it's kind of almost like the information page, it's the front cover, so that page may be amended if there were new dates that we needed to add in, or if, I think, does it talk about the officer who's involved, or we may have to jig around the table of contents. So I think because it's not a part of the policy content itself, we can update that as required. If that makes sense.
No. I guess.
Right, okay, moving on to
Well, I hope this might actually help. So when we did the new climate emergency policy, which was before this time, it was a couple of years ago now, well it actually came in about 18 months ago, we had a next review date of a year after inception, and then it joined the normal cycle, and that was reflected on the front page of that policy. And to me it would make sense to mirror that on here, whereby on page 81 at policy status we say last review date, well it might be now, that's not October 25, next review date would be in a year, and review period, instead of just writing annually, we put after the first year, and then whether it's 3 yearly after that. So maybe that would help clarify and fall in line with at least my experience of other policy.
I would propose perhaps the best way to reassure councillors is to change the recommendation to, so that it adds to be reviewed after 1 year. And hopefully that would satisfy the question that we are going to review it in a year's time.
So this is the recommendation to you?
Yeah, I mean, someone needs to propose that, but...
Yeah, we need to, yeah, okay. Councillor Duvan.
I'm with Councillor Matthews. It is confusing because it says review period annually, the next review date is 3 years.
Yeah.
So I'm with Councillor Bristow on this, that we change the review period to in the first year, then 3 yearly.
Yeah, I can't get that I can't see how we get that into the recommendations for you to vote on it as a resolution. It's a very specific detail that's going to end up in a resolution. So,
Councillor Bristow, do you have a comment?
Yeah, when we did the climate emergency one, it was actually very helpful, and I remember because it was Councillor Gorman who suggested that we review it after a year rather than leave it 3 before we reviewed it, and we had that as an amendment to the recommendations in that particular meeting. So surely on point 2, it could be, I could propose to adopt the whistleblowing policy as recommended by the Personnel Committee and as detailed in Appendix A, with the amendment that the review period be after the first year initially, and thereafter, subject to successful review, would follow the 3-year cycle.
There you go.
Perfect.
I'll go to sleep now.
Can I have a point of order?
Please. We just need to
Yeah,
clarify.
I'll have a point of order.
Yeah, okay. Can we just clarify the amendment, and then I'll come to your point of order.
Okay.
So do you want to
that correctly on near enough what you said, Councillor Bristow? I think it's as written, so as recommended by the Personnel Committee, and with a review after 1 year of adoption, and thereafter, subject to successful review, would follow the 3-year cycle.
Okay. Before we take a vote, you have a point of order.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, with all the numerous amendments or policies and new policy being introduced, especially since the appointment of the Deputy Town Clerk, is it not right maybe the next meeting where there should be a short paper which maybe clarifies where we are with policy, what gets updated and what doesn't get updated? At the moment, it's a little bit, this is a situation where I think it could benefit the way forward with the policies coming out going forward in the near future and beyond. At the moment, it's confusing on this particular item. I loved it, and it was confusing on other ones as well. I mean, I would argue you'd want to check them annually for aesthetics anyway. I mean, you could argue everything should be looked at aesthetically.
Well, I think there's a
so there's all that sort of
as
thing.
well.
But I don't think it's necessarily been through this full council when policies are introduced. So that's a point of order, and I think it might help as we've got a meeting coming up about 3 weeks' time. That might help. Thank you.
Well, there is a time and resource issue.
Yeah.
Would you like to take that?
Yeah, I mean, there is a separate report which the Deputy Town Clerk either has brought or is going to bring, which details the policy reviews and the updates that he's going to work on, and the order in which they're going to be worked on because of the urgency and priority. There's also, the potential discussion to be had whether or not full council should or could delegate authority to some committees to authorise some policies, because you'll notice that we're clogging up full council approving numerous policies which have already been litigated at committee stage. And arguably it's a bit of a waste of time to go through it all again at full council every time. And there are some policies potentially which, if councillors were supportive, could be approved at committee level and wouldn't need to come to full council, which is a piece of work that we're going to bring forward to full council in due course, if that answers your question.
It sort of does, yeah, no, it does, it partly answers it, but it's where you have that big discussion, isn't it?
Okay, all right,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you very much.
Councillor Martin? Councillor Matthews, did you have another comment or query?
Only,
legacy?
Steve, only what Town Clerk said, actually, that's the point of.
Right, the explanation for the town park is satisfactory. Okay. Is everyone happy for me to move to and vote with the amendment? Do you want me to vote on the amendment? Yeah.
Yeah, we vote on the amendment.
Can I second the amendment?
So so the proposer is Councillor Bristow. Thank you, seconding. That's very kind of you, Councillor Borman. As read. So we are voting on the amendment as read out by.
No, we're voting for an amendment.
Yes, we're voting for the amendment. No, we actually need to vote to note the contents of the report first, don't we?
And the other way around, that's fine.
Are you happy to? Yeah, okay. All right. So to adopt the whistleblowing policy as recommended by the Personnel Committee.
We need to vote that everyone supports the amendment.
Yes,
before we then vote on the amendment.
We need to vote for the amendment.
Yeah.
All those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? So the amendment is passed. So first of all, we are noting the contents of the report. Can I have a proposal, please? Councillor Markwell, seconded Councillor Matthews. All those in favour of noting the contents of the report? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? No, that's unanimous.
The amended recommendation to
Yeah, okay. And this is the amended recommendation to adopt the whistleblowing policy as recommended by the Personnel Committee and subject to the recent discussed amendments. So those, can I have a proposal, please? Councillor Taylor, Councillor Buchanan, seconder. Those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? That's passed unanimously. Thank you. Right. I'm going to suggest that we perhaps have a comfort break at the end of this budget, if that's okay. Right. Okay. So, item 15, page 90, the adoption of a revised bad debt policy. Town Clerk.
Thank you, Chair. So again, this is another paper that was deferred from the October Full Council. Adoption of a revised bad debt policy. This is not a new policy, this is a revision of an existing policy, and I welcome any questions.
Anybody got any questions, queries, clarifications? No. Right. Okay, then we shall move swiftly on to the vote. We're asked to consider the revised bad debt policy and to move to a vote. So, item 1, to note the contents of the report. Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Rutland, a seconder, please. Anyone? Councillor Buchanan. Those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? That's passed unanimously. And secondly, to adopt the revised bad debt policy as recommended by the Finance and General Purpose Committee. Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Borman, seconder, Councillor Matthews. Those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? No. Again, passed unanimously. Right, I'm going to suspend standing orders and suggest we have a 5-minute comfort break. Okay, I'm reinstating standing orders. Thank you, councillors. And we are continuing. We are now, correct me if I'm wrong, on page 100. Oh no, 99. Agenda item 16. This is adoption of a revised concessions policy, which has already been scrutinised by the Finance and General Purpose Committee. Clark.
Thank you. Yeah, so as the Chair said, this has already gone through FGP committee, and we'll take it as read, and I'll invite any questions.
So the floor open. Councillor Duba.
So I just want to make sure that there is a procedural document that sits behind this that staff follow, that they will, to ensure that all the legal requirements being met in terms of how they go to tender, when they go to tender, where the documents are. So, yeah, I understand that detail's been stripped out of this now, but it does sit behind this document and it does exist.
I'm going to ask the Senior Committee Clerk to respond to your question, if that's all right.
Yeah, so I think what I'd say is, obviously as we have the policy document and then we have a number of working practices and other kind of supporting documents that sit behind the policy and then enable us to kind of deliver it operationally. With regards to this concessions policy, there's been quite a bit of work in recent months to update the policy and the process. So some of those procedural documents will be amended, tweaked as we run this 2026 concessions process. But yes, can confirm there is kind of that suite of documents that support the delivery of this.
Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Any further questions? Councillor Brisbane.
So I'm not on the Finance and General Purposes Committee, so I've sort of looked at this without having been party to that with a fresh pair of eyes perhaps. Really welcome the fact that this is coming forward. I know as a council it's really important that this has been updated and implemented, and I note that there's a concessions working group being formed, which is to, and the policy will be reviewed, it says, in October this year as an outcome of that group. My question is rather about the mission statement of the policy. On page 103, so in the Appendix A, it says to create a diverse commercial offering. Create a diverse commercial offering for the residents and visitors of Seaford. Great. Providing local sustainably operated businesses the chance to launch and explore viability in affordable, accessible and influential town spaces. And I'm just thinking back to previous rounds of concessions and so on, and the fact that something, I say we as a council, those involved with the process, having diversity there is brilliant. I wonder about, we were keen to ensure that the concessions who were appointed were viable and had a track record. Is this a shift from that to more being a sort of more of an incubator space where new businesses can try out their operations, or how much do we still place on having that kind of track record to see that it's established enough to continue through the period for which we would be granting the lease or licence? And a second minor clarification point is where we're saying providing local sustainably operated businesses. Is that sustainably operated as in financial sustainability, or does that sustainably operated encompass also the environmental? And I note that there is a a part on sustainability, which is slightly different from sustainably, so I just wanted that clarification on the mission statement, please.
So that's
I could try. So actually the mission statement wasn't changed in this latest review of the policy. So that mission statement was introduced in, I believe, the 2024 kind of overhaul, where we did come up with quite a different policy. From memory, the aim was to try and, like you say, almost create this kind of incubator opportunity. Obviously, I think what we have working in practice isn't quite that. So this is almost, I guess, still recorded as what the council is aiming for, is to be able to offer those sorts of opportunities. If that answers that part. With regards to the sustainably operated businesses, I've got to be honest, I don't quite know. I don't know, Peter, if you've got any thoughts on the definition there as well.
I think that it was used in that language because exactly that, we wanted it to be both financially sustainable and sustainable in the more environmental sense, which is addressed, as you say, elsewhere.
Okay, backing your horses both ways.
I think it's also important to say that this is effectively a stopgap for this year, because the A&F Concessions Working Group has been formed and is going to work through this year to overhaul and come up with a new way of doing these concessions, because none of us really feel that they serve our purpose greatly. But we need a solution with which we can run the concessions process this year for the one or two opportunities that are going to become available. And thereafter, once the A&F Concessions Group has reported back, we should then be able to develop a long-term, comprehensive and lasting policy, so we won't have to keep reinventing it every year.
Thank you.
I think this very much shows the steep learning curve that we're on, where we've moved from strictly, the highest bidder financially wins, that actually bringing in other values is quite a steep learning curve, because the weighting of those value-based scores is quite a subjective thing, and we have to show consistency, and we have to show that we learn and we refine our processes to make it fair and reasonable, so that new businesses can have a space in which they grow and flourish. So we want to give people, new businesses, opportunities, but they have to be able to show that they're sustainable in all ways if they've got the ability to do so. So it's about supporting businesses and nurturing them, but keeping a very close eye on them as well, as I know from my previous involvement. Councillor Dunn.
Yeah, just as curiosity really, but Marine Parade, is that the Bonningstown ice cream van? Page 101 says
Marine
the
Parade
concession temporary is going to be for 1st of April. Is that Marine Parade concession? Is that Bonningstown? Because we know it as Bonningstown, or we know it as Edinburgh Road ice cream van. That's that one. Yeah. Okay. Lovely. Thank you. Yeah.
Anyone, any further questions or queries before we move? No? Okay. Right, so we are asked to note the contents of the report. Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Meek, seconder Councillor Matthews. All those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Anyone abstaining? So that's passed unanimously. And to adopt the revised concessions policy as recommended by the Finance and General Purpose Committee with immediate effect. Can I have a proposal, please? Councillor Borman, seconder Councillor Matthews. All those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Anyone abstaining? No, so that's passed unanimously. Thank you. Moving swiftly to page 108, which is item 17, is that right?
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
The adoption of the IT and data protection policies.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. So again, obviously the Deputy Town Clerk would be introducing this if he was here. Originally these four policies were going to come through individually, but having worked on this, he identified that they all are interlinked with each other, and we can't bring one without bringing the others because they all relate to each other. So this is a proposal for the four IT related and data protection related policies to be brought into play, and they were recommended by the Finance and General Purposes Committee. So there are a number of recommendations, but that's because there's a number of policies here, and I'd welcome any questions.
Is there any queries? I mean, it has been scrutinised at a previous committee. So, Councillor Matthews.
Not really any questions really, but I think obviously I'm just noting the bring your own device policy. I think in future I'm hoping that we can have our own kind of council provided laptops or something, or iPads, so that we don't have to rely so heavily on our own equipment. But I know that we will discuss that later on in the year probably.
Thank you.
In brief, yeah, so at F&GP, we discussed the fact that F&GP had previously asked for councillor allowances to be brought back by December of 2026 in readiness for the new intake of councillors. My proposal to F&GP was that part of that we will also bring to that a discussion about whether or not the new intake of councillors should also receive a town council device, and that would encompass all of that together, so that in May 2027, if the council were, if F&GP approved and full council approved, new councillors would receive an allowance potentially and a device potentially, if that's what was approved. And hopefully that answers the question.
Can I ask about the budget timetabling? Because getting something approved is not the same as having the money approved to pay for it. So where would the cycle be if say it was approved in December 2026, would there be time to have that in a budget so that there was provision for the new intake of councillors?
Okay, so F&GP asked us to make sure it was done by December 2026, and we'll take a look at time frame to make sure that full council have the opportunity to approve it if F&GP recommend it to full council in time for the vote.
Excellent, thank you. Right, Councillor Rutland and then Councillor Meek, yeah.
I would just say this is a very comprehensive document, so I would commend the Deputy Town Clerk for all his work, and thank you very much. It's very clear, and we can see exactly what's going on, so well done. Just what we need.
Thank you, but I would just say that most of this work on this paper was done by the Deputy Town Clerk.
I did say
I'll make sure part of that.
I did. All of the officers involved.
Thank you, Chair. This is not just, I absolutely echo Councillor Rutland's comments there, and yes, this is fantastic. I just wanted to just pick up on what Councillor Matthews said, just a bit of a caveat as you go forward thinking about 2027 and the new intake. A caveat being that LDC were all given, as a matter of course, new laptops. However, I would like to stress that various councillors found that they weren't up to the job that they wanted from those computers, and then asked LDC to have allowance for them to use their computers, their own personal laptops, and have access through that, which was a more complicated procedure, and therefore those laptops were then left not being used. So there was a waste of money, if you like. So I think you ought to be rather careful about how you do that, and maybe an allowance is the better way to do it, and say we're going to provide laptops come what may, because they may not be to the spec that certain councillors are used to dealing with. Do you see what I mean? Thank you very much.
And I think added to that as well, those councillors that are double hatters or with the county council aren't going to want to have numerous laptops from each council. So we need to work with the Lewis district and then potentially Sussex to see if we can share devices.
Any further comments or queries before we move to a vote? Okay, so we are asked to note the contents of the report. Do I have a proposal, please? Councillor Buchanan, a seconder, Councillor Rutland. All those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? No. Unanimous? No? That's true. That's a very good idea. So, thank you. Yes. So, is everyone happy for me to include items, recommendations 2, 3, 4 and 5 together? Does anyone have any objections? Okay, so I'm going to propose the adoption of the data protection policy, the document retention policy, the IT and cyber security policy, and the bring your own device policy, as recommended by the Finance and General Purpose Committee. Do I have a proposal, please?
Mr. Chair, I've got.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one thing's missing, Chair, I think, on all four policies, in the sense of, we haven't said who it's intended for on all four policies, except to say who the policies are intended for. Thank you.
We're already on the voting.
Sorry.
Well, they're missing, aren't they? So.
Yes, but we've moved to a vote, so I'm afraid it's too.
Well, it's up to you, Chair, but obviously they'll be out of date before they get published. Yeah.
Yes, apparently the clerk says that is not the case.
They'll be amended anyway.
Yes, yeah, it is acceptable. There is not a problem.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry,
just to clarify, it does say who the
well, I can't see it down here.
Section 2, aim and scope, talks about who the policy is replied to.
But I know some of the other ones, Chair, they're more explicit.
Okay, I think we will say that your
query
has been answered satisfactorily. So just to go back, we're asking that we take items 2, 3, 4 and 5 together for the sake of speed and flexibility. Do I have a proposer for all 2 to 5? Thank you, Councillor Bristow. Seconded, Councillor Rutland. Thank you very much. All those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? All those recommendations are passed unanimously. Thank you. And thank you for that clarification. That's very helpful. Right. Okay. So those are the white. Is there one more? 18. Thinking. Right. Okay. So this is the last of the white bundle. This is page 153, and this is asset management software, and this is to be addressed by Peter.
So yes, I'll be filling in for the Deputy Town Clerk on this one. So it's fair to say that our team has been making the best of an archaic system. The system that is selected in this paper really impressed us with its ease of use, its clear audit trails and ability to provide up-to-date photographic information from our contractors, ensuring that we have complete oversight of what's going on. I'm happy to take any questions.
Councillor Duba.
Item 5.2, second line. We're seeing this increasingly. We're being told to spend money, and we're going to see a benefit of officer time being saved. So what is that time going to be spent on? There's never any information. Are we reducing officer time? Are we making cuts in staffing? Are we doing extra things? What is that time going to be spent on? I do want to start seeing what this saving is going to be. If we're spending something, there has to be a payback for that. You can't just say we're spending time. Is that more time in the canteen? What is that, please?
I doubt it.
So I'm happy to take that point and in future consider that when we're writing these. All I would say is that we have an ambitious strategic plan at the moment, and the officers will be spending time ensuring that we deliver on as close to time as possible on that strategic plan.
I think they have no shortage of work. Councillor Vick, thank you.
Can I just reply to give an opinion myself for Councillor Duba? I understand what you're saying, and accountability is very key. I do understand that, Madam Chair. But, however, we've been through, I've been through the last 6 years where we constantly experience the fact that we can't get most things done because there hasn't been officer time. So I would support anything that can free up officer time so that they can get onto other projects without having to do nitty-gritty stuff, which quite frankly is just footwork most of the time. And if that can be speeded up with technology, I don't see any harm in that, and I hope that we would be able to see results. Thank you.
It's a huge benefit role.
Yeah. And I think it's also about errors and omissions. I think if we have a system that is increasingly able to save misunderstandings, we perhaps can save complaints and wasted time. And I think that's one of the main benefits that I see from this service.
Absolutely, I just add information gathering as well. So at the moment, when information is required, it takes quite a long time to find that right information and relies on the right officer being in the office that day. With this, myself and the senior management team and other managers can quickly and efficiently access that information.
Councillor Bristow.
Thank you. Following on, time indeed, but my reading of this is that it will also help us with quality in terms of the management of our assets, which potentially may increase quite substantially in the next few years. So I welcome this, and in particular I welcome the fact that if we vote for it, it would be hopefully bedded in and officers would be used to using it and proficient in it for such a time as our assets may increase. That we could deal with that sufficiently. So thank you for bringing this.
Yeah, yeah, well said.
Any further comment? Councillor Honeyman.
Thank you, Chair. What the head of place just said, archaic systems, how old is the current system you're using at the moment? I wouldn't mind a bit of clarity of that. Is that, what, 10, 15 years? Or is it a DOS-based system? I'd be interested to see
For you.
So the majority of it is a paper-based system. So that goes back as long as the town council, I think. So they've worked on a paper system, so this is about digitising it.
Okay, thank you. That explains a lot. So I'd certainly support it when they said that.
Okay. All right, point taken. Any further questions or queries before we go to the vote?
We've run out of green pens.
Right, okay. So, recommendations. We're asked to note the contents of the report. Can I have a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Meek. Second, Councillor Rutland. All those in favour? Thank you. Any those against? Any abstentions? Passed unanimously. And finally, to agree the associated expenditure for the asset management software, bearing in mind we are going to have a free period, so the sooner we take it up the better, to be added to the 2026-2027 budget and the projected budgets for future years. So can I have a proposer for item 2? Thank you, Councillor Rutland, and a second, Councillor Bristow. All those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Anyone abstaining? So again, unanimous. Thank you. So we have finished the second bundle. Right, now I have to vote for exclusion of the press and public. So, item 19, exclusion of the press and public. I vote that in accordance with the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960, the press and public be excluded from the meeting during the discussion of the next items of business for the reasons set out below. The resolution of the item will be publicly recorded in the minutes of the meeting. The proper officer considers the discussion of the following items is likely to disclose exempt information as defined in the Local Government Act 1972 and data protection legislation, and may therefore need to take place in private session. The exempt information reasons are shown alongside each item below, and furthermore, in relation to paragraph 10 of Schedule 12A, it is considered that the public interest in maintaining exemption outweighs the public interest in disclosing the information. So can I have a proposer for item 19, please? Councillor Meek, a seconder, please. Councillor Buchanan. Those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? Any abstentions? No. So we are now in, we'll be asking the public to leave. Thank you very much for your attention and attendance, and a very difficult evening. And, thank